Alright, so, last stage was Labyrinth Zone, but less rude and more boring. And Quartz Quadrant is probably like the most neutral stage we've been to since Palm Tree Panic, so I guess since we're not going to be talking much about the stage, I can talk about the soundtrack. So, different versions of the game have different soundtracks. The Japanese and European OSTs are the original songs, and most of the scores were rewritten for the American soundtrack. Now, all versions actually share past themes. That's because apparently the past themes were apparently set in something called PCM audio instead of something else called Red Book CD audio. And I don't know what any of that means. I just made sure to look it up so I could have it in my notes. I don't know anything about soundtrack technology, I'm sorry, but whatever it means, the fact of the matter is they couldn't change the past theme because it was like, I don't know, they just drew it on the disc with Sharpie or something. Again, I don't get how this stuff works in the first place. Don't ask me for the fine details. We will take a quick break from that, though, to talk about the last special stage. Now, let's see. I feel like this one was a bit of a pain. Cool background, though. Lots of green. I really like that planet just looming overhead. That's actually pretty neat. Okay, so that UFO likes to float over water. That's annoying. Actually, all of them do. Geez. Okay, this one's kind of obnoxious, if we're being honest. I forget. Was this the one that I had to actually get the blue UFO? Or was that a different one? Well, geez, that is just in the worst spot. So yeah, definitely had to go for the blue UFO, because what else could I do about that UFO but step on water? Got it real close here, though, geez. But yeah, they are just in terrible locations, huh? That's the challenge. It's a little bit difficult to build up speed, and the UFOs are just horribly placed. So, by collecting the final time stone... So, with all of the time stones, you automatically get a good future now. If you go to the past in each stage, the robot generator will already be destroyed, and you can't go to a bad future ever again. You just need to go to the future, and it'll be fine. And every time you go to Act 3, it'll be fine. So, of course, since the future is now good, and there won't really be enemies and fewer traps hanging around, the super peel-off is actually a bit safer to use in the future. Oh, can't go through there. Yeah. That's the annoying thing is, I don't mind traps being in place, but I don't really like when passageways are blocked off between time spans. But anyway, yeah, in terms of soundtrack quality, I feel like the Japanese soundtrack is a little more energetic and just kind of more interesting than the American version. I'm not super into most of the US soundtrack songs. But that being said, for some reason, I feel like the past themes are actually closer, or like, almost a mix of, like, the Japanese and American songs, which isn't right at all, I know. Like, the Japanese soundtrack came first, so, like, I don't know, I guess it's just my brain being weird, but I feel like they actually fit closer to the US soundtrack. Consequently, the past themes are typically my least favorite versions of each area soundtrack. Now, granted, like, I feel like tonally they're similar to the US version, but of course they'd share the played them off with the Japanese soundtrack. Is that the right word? I'm sorry, I'm terrible at music criticism, I know. And oh man, I love the background here. This one looks really cool. But yeah, that being said, I will say the US soundtrack has an actually really creepy boss theme, as well as creepy game over, mostly comprised of, ominous songs and Eggman laughter. That being said, though, nothing can beat Work That Sucker to Death. Come on now, work that sucker to death. Oh, and the boss here is pretty simple. You just run along this conveyor belt, and that will steadily destroy the thing Eggman's standing on. From time to time, he'll try to drop a spiky ball on you, and that'll split into parts, so just focus on your momentum to make sure you can dodge properly without, like, running into the spikes, and you should be fine. I will say, though, the game over for the Japanese soundtrack actually sounds like a song out of Total Distortion. Like one of the Guitar Warriors comes down, and it should just be the game over theme from this version playing. It's kind of what it sounds like to me. And then there's also the main themes, but I'll save that for the bad future, which we'll get into just a moment, because in terms of the main video, we're about out of time. Okay, but like seriously? Other than the kind of ugly yellow, the bad future for Quartz Quadrant rules. I like the background, I like the music. I feel like the tile set's the only drawback here. But anyway, yes, the main theme is actually different between versions as well. And for some reason, even though I'm playing the Japanese version, the intro song was actually Sonic Boom, which is the main theme and credits for the American version. Of course, they do change the song up for the credits, but it is still Sonic Boom in both cases. Whereas in the Japanese version, the main theme is Sonic You Can Do Anything, which I've probably linked to in the thread already. And the credits theme is actually an entirely different song, Cosmic Eternity, Believe in Yourself. As good as Sonic Boom is, I do actually really like Sonic You Can Do Anything. It's kinda nonsense, but it's really catchy. And again, it's very energetic. Not that Sonic Boom isn't, but, I don't know. Again, if you've been following the thread, you've probably already seen the link to that song. I'm sure future me will make sure that that version of the intro is posted. But anyway, now that we've given a proper workout to both Sonic and possibly Robotnik, or at the very least, probably shaved some skin off from heat with that thing, it's time to move on from this zone into the worst one.